My name is Pam Mackenzie, and I belong to Prince of Peace Parish. I took a trip to Rome, and it was a Eucharistic conference, and it was put on by bishops and cardinals, and it was classes during the week, and I learned so much. The highlight was we were invited to process with Pope Benedict on the Feast of Corpus Christi. We came out of church, each of us with hand-lit candles, and hundreds of us, through the streets of Rome. And all of the Italians were all along the sidewalks or up in the balconies. And they had fashioned these beautiful flowered, real flowers, banners that they had hung from their porches. It was just very, very heartfelt. We were all crying. Then we came home, and our adoration chapel had completed its building. So they brought in a priest, a mission priest, to tell us how much grace you can receive by going to the chapel. He was funny. He said he was going to hear confessions afterwards. He said, "I'm only going to charge a nickel." I thought, okay, I'm going to go see this guy. I was afraid. I walked in, I said, "Bless me, Father, for I have sinned. I have not been here in 15 years. He said, "Welcome back." And he said, "For your penance, I want you to go visit your new chapel for 1 hour." I said, okay. Many of my friends had worked on the chapel. I was curious about it, but I was not sold on it. So I went in there the first hour, and it seemed like 5. I stood up, I sat down, I read, I observed other people, and I got through it. Well, then I just kept being drawn back, and I would visit for short visits, and eventually I signed up as a regular. I learned so much in the chapel as far as Jesus' presence being there. I prepared years and years of my catechism lessons in the chapel. I saw people, men walking in with suitcases and just falling on their knees and not being afraid to show how much they loved Jesus. I also saw that presence of Jesus on the altar. Eucharistic ministers would bring communion to my mother and I when my mother was dying in the hospital. And it gave us hope, and it gave us faith and sustenance to make it through that trial. I too am a Eucharistic minister, and what I've watched through the years is people approaching for Holy Communion, and they have in their eyes this just sincere love of Jesus, and you can't help but not feel that. I think that I get help from Jesus either receiving him or listening to him. Sometimes he doesn't answer my questions the way I want or when I want. Sometimes they're slow. Sometimes they're very slow. And the most recent example of that is my husband of over 40 years finally entered the Catholic Church at Easter. And I know that that only came from people who were offering up their holy hour or offering up their communion for him. So that's why it's such a strong feeling inside of me. That's it.